Welcome, everybody. Today, I've got the distinct privilege of actually having a conversation with Roger Souza, Dr. Roger Souza from Botupharma USA. He's our CEO, but more importantly, he's best known for running his own practice at RS Equine in Scottsdale, Arizona. Dr. Roger, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, my friend, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah, so I have a lot of conversations with a ton of vets, breeders, and everything, and I just wanted to bring you on to kind of ask a couple of questions that I would typically get and really hear it from the leader of Botupharma USA. So if it's all right with you, what I want to get into is some of these frequently asked questions, and then also getting into some of the extenders.
Sure. Yeah, let's jump on it then, because I think that's a fair question. Everybody always asks the same question. Why do you guys have a bunch of extenders,
Yeah. And that's actually where I want to start. The question is usually phrased most competitors, or the one that I typically use. A top competitor in the semen extender world only has one. It's ready to use, but Botu Pharma USA offers 5. My first question is why? And then can you tell me a little bit more about what makes them different?
So I would say that this is a no-brainer, because instead of have one option, we have several. But like it's easy as each stallion can be different from each other, right? So it's one stallion has tolerance for different compounds. The one stallion can be really good with a casein-based extender. Well, another stallion can be good with a milk-based. We have extenders in Botupharma also have some different compounds like a cholesterol. Botupharma is the only one in the market that added cholesterol in an extender. So we also add medicine as well, with pentoxifylline. We can, for the fact that we have 5, we can or also mix it up one with the other, because they all have the same density. Another factor, which is really important, will be the shelf life. This one is 2 years of a shelf life against 6 months, So if, let's say, if you don't use this season, you can have for the next season. So it's a matter of like not a one size fits all. Each extender has a different purpose that we're going to go walk through it in this interview.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's more flexible and it's catered to the stallion versus you trying to fit that stallion into one product.
Yeah, so if it doesn't work in that one product, what are you going to do? That's the point. That's the main point.
And I think a lot of breeders get to that point and they just say, well, I'm done with this stallion. But really, it could come down to a product that you could get 2, 3, 4, or 5 more years of collection out of this one stallion.
For sure. We have some cases that we just add extender with a cholesterol. And this stallion that was a non-shipper, the semen, to a really good one. So just for one simple compound, that you would discard, like you said, in another case scenario,
Perfect. So then let's kind of go down the list of extenders and just give a quick breakdown of each extender.
Sure. Like Botupharma, as everybody knows, has 5 options, right? We just came out with a 5th one. So we have 5 options. Option 1, we have the Botu Semen Standard. Okay. That one is milk-based. So it's the most reliable baseline extender. So that one you're going to use for fresh semen and pre-centrifugation. What I mean by that pre-centrifugation? So some stallions you needed to centrifuge the semen before you ship. So this one, that's the extender that you want to use, So fresh semen and pre-centrifugation. Option 2, we have a Botu Semen Special. That one is a milk-based as well. Plus, this one has cholesterol. Cholesterol, what it does? It protects the membrane of the sperm. With the protection, you increase the longevity of the sperm. Also, the viability of the sperm. So this one basically was developed to stallions that is susceptible to a cold damage, or in other words, a fragile stallion. Okay. So that one, because of the protection, we're going to use this for before you freezing centrifugation, before you freezing, and to ship semen, chilled semen. Okay. Because the protection, you need a protection to freeze and to ship, to extend it to live longer. So the third option, we have a Botu Turbo. So that one is milk-based as well. But plus, this one has a medicine that calls pentoxifylline. What pentoxifylline does, it increases the ATP of the sperm, the energy. It speeds it up the semen. So that one is a motility enhancer. So you're going to increase the vigor of the semen. The semen, after you mix that extender, you're going to see the improvement of the semen in 15 minutes. So that one was developed to a poor quality semen. When you have a poor quality semen, you're going to add this guy. So that one you use for fresh, for chilled semen, and also a technique that we call reinforced breeding. We're going to talk about that technique later on, okay? So option 4, we have is a Botu Gold. So now we're going to a different neighborhood. Instead of a milk-based, this is a casein-based. Botu Gold is a casein-based plus cholesterol. The same cholesterol as the special. You're going to increase the protection of the membrane. You're going to have more longevity, more viability. The same. The casein here, what it does, has some extra antioxidant properties, okay? And also is going to avoid the premature capacitation. With that, you're going to increase the fertility, okay? So this one is the same. You're going to freeze the semen. So you're going to do the process first, the pre-centrifugation, plus the shipping as well. Fifth option and last one. That one's the Botu Semen KZ. That one just came out in the market this year. That one is a casein base as well, but no cholesterol on this guy. So this guy has a casein, which you have antioxidant properties and also avoid the premature capacitation. The particularity on this guy compared to the other 4 is the pH and the osmolarity. So that those two is slightly different to the other ones. So it's another extra option. As you can see, we have extender for all different situations.
It just goes to show that you can, this is pun intended, but you can extend the collection life of a stallion when you have options. When you don't have options, you're literally kind of stuck.
Yeah, you can be creative. That's what I like the beauty about a Botupharma. You can also make the reproduction more interesting, right? You get more interesting because, oh, I can do this. I can mix the cholesterol. No, I think this one I need a pentoxifillin. I think this situation I can do this and that. Everything is more interesting that way, not just one extender and that's it. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, it almost becomes kind of an art form versus
Yes.
if you do 1, 2, 3, that's it. Well, if it's almost like a flow chart, if your horse is this or does this, go here. If it does this, go there. And that's the beauty of having all these different options. One thing I want to throw your way, Dr. Roger, people worry about agglutination on extenders that are not ready to use. Everybody knows Botupharma US. The setup is that you get the sterile water and the sachet of powder, and then you have to mix it up
Yes.
30 minutes to 60 minutes in advance. What would you say to the people that worry about agglutination with our extenders?
So let's start from the beginning. What is agglutination for the people out there that doesn't know what it is, right? So when you put in the microscope the semen is supposed to just swim freely, right? You just see pure semen looking over there. So agglutination means one of the semen is clumping together. So you're gonna see those dots and a lot of tails. That's definitely those guys not gonna work. So it's a very important matter. Okay, what we have to defer here because there's some agglutination as well from a different perspective because you can have problems in reproduction tract. So like inflammation, infection, contamination. So if you defer all of this, that's not the matter because some people think it's extender. Oh, I think it's extenders, that's the problem. No, maybe it's not. So you have to defer those two. And then if it's an environmental factor, what I mean, so you have to clean the stallion well because if it's dust inside, it can become agglutination as well. So if you do everything right, and then you can look for the extender. But for the extender itself, you just have to do one thing. 20 to 30 minutes before you're gonna use it, you just mix it up. That's all.
Okay,
And you're
well,
not gonna have a problem at all.
you bring up another good point of just like good recommendations for best practices. So on a daily basis, what do you recommend in terms of preparation of the extenders? How long before the stallion collection? And any tips or advice for people that are not used to having the powder formula?
So let me clarify one thing. The difference between the liquid and the powder, is because we to do all this, compounds, medicine, and everything, we cannot do in a liquid form. So that's why I have the powder. Plus, we extended the life there for 2 years as well. So it's not that difficult, We just have to plan ahead, get used to it. Like the main rule is 20 to 30 minutes before, especially for the casein based, because it's a little more harder to dilute it, the gold and the KZ. So just plan ahead. At the moment you find out that the collection is going to take place, go ahead and just mix it up your extender and just leave over there. Or let's say, like us here, we do a lot of farm calls. So what do? We mix the extender here in the clinic, and then we leave it in the cooler and just leave and just go to do the farm calls, and you warm it up at the moment that you're gonna use it. Okay. So, but it's already mixed. Okay, it doesn't need it to be in a warm water to count those 20 to 30 minutes. You just have to mix. Okay, so just plan ahead. That's all. There's nothing. There's no major problem with it.
Okay, so then 20 to 30 minutes before, that doesn't seem like a big deal. Why is it such a big deal when people say, "Oh, I want the ready to use stuff"?
You got to look for the positive side, right? You got a 2 year shelf life. Next year, I can use it again. And by the way, one thing that I forgot to mention. So if you mix it up today, let's say you have one style in your property only. So you can just use whatever you need to use. If you have a half of extender, just put it back in the fridge. You can use up to 3 to 4 days. If you didn't use today, and then you can use in the next 2, 3 days. Not a problem.
Yeah, so that makes more sense. So if I'm collecting 3 or 4 times a week, I could legit just mix up a bunch, use what I need, put it in the fridge, pull it back out for the next day or the third day, right?
Yep, of course. Not a problem at all. Just as long as you keep in the fridge, that's okay.
So you'd mentioned one thing that kind of stuck out with the cholesterol. I know there's some particularities on centrifugation process with extenders with cholesterol. Can you kind of go through that and explain that a little bit more?
That's a great question. So cholesterol, we want to protect the membrane, right? So one particularity we have is in the centrifugation process. So you don't want to double down. What I mean by double down with the cholesterol, you don't want to pre-centrifuge cholesterol with the cholesterol, so special in gold, and then resuspend with the cholesterol again. You don't want that much protection. That's going to affect in your maturation. Okay. So what we recommend here in Botupharma is every time you're going to centrifuge the semen, that's why we have these options. So you're going to have the option standard, KZ, or turbo. All three does not have cholesterol. You do the pre-centrifugation, as I told in the beginning, without cholesterol, and then you don't need to worry at all. You just resuspend an inspection and gold. That's all.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up with having so many different options. They almost scare themselves out of using our product and sticking with the status quo. And I think status quo, like you said, does not give us the flexibility, does not give us all the different options in the event that a stallion just doesn't respond well to whatever they're currently using.
Well, yeah, definitely. For sure.
So then all of that is great, Dr. Roger. It sounds good, but how do I go about choosing what works best for my stallion?
Sure, that's a fairly question. Botupharma has a test kit, we call. So it's something that you buy, just have one bottle of each, 100 ml. So those, you can just do the test. Botupharma provides you the extender comparison form, and then you're going to follow. They already did all the math to you. So you're just going to go over there and just going to follow the steps. So you just look at the concentration of the stallion. That's the only thing that you're going to need. You put all the information, how much you collect the stallion. You're just going to fill it up in the paper. It's one sheet of paper only. See, on the left side, the first column is the concentration. That's the only thing you're going to need from your stallion. Let's say the 300 over there. The 300, the only thing you have to do is put a 2 cc of raw semen, the semen that you collect from the stallion, and then you can put a 10 ml of extender. And then the total is going to be 12 ml, okay? And then you're going to have to do this with all the ones that if you can come up a little. So here you found the number, you know the concentration. So then here you don't need to test every single extender, because let's say we're going to talk about later which one you use to ship, which one you use to do inseminate on site. So depending on what you're going to do, if you're going to use the mares you have the mares installed in your house. So and then you can just try the ones you want to do it to compare. So you use your current extender here in the first column, and then you compare the other ones with exactly the same thing that you saw below. So you want to do exactly the same with all of them, including the one you're doing your current extender. So that way you have a fairly comparison. So one thing that is really have to be fair as well, dilution. That's what we just did. So the other thing is how you gonna put an equitainer, how are you gonna drop that temperature. You do everything exactly the same. So that way it's a fair comparison. As you can see, everything is in here. You just follow the steps. As soon as you follow the steps, you're gonna put the motility and progressive motility if you can't. If someone has CASA in their clinic, they can use the progressive motility as well. And otherwise, just visual, and you're going to realize which one is better. And then that's going to be your selected one for that specific stallion. So we recommend it to do selection at least once a year, the beginning of the season. We do here at RS Equine, beginning of the season, and every single time I receive a new stallion. That guy came to freeze. So we do the test. We do freezing test. We do cooled semen test. Every time you have a new guy, you have to do it. I have some cases that 1 year is casein based is better. The next year is going to be milk based better. It's animal body is not like a math, you know? So can be changing year over year.
So then I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. These stallion stations that receive the stallions, let's say they have a new stallion coming in and the owner says, hey, we always use XYZ extender. Would you at least recommend that they do this test kit, this test protocol?
We do no matter what, you know? Yeah, I would do no matter what. Because their judgment cannot be the same as your judgment. The machine that they have cannot be the same machine as your lab has. So you have to do it. You have to have your own opinion. Don't rely on people's opinion, right? So that's the best way you can be a best professional you can be.
Sure. So let's switch gears a little bit. There's seems to be in this community, this horse community, especially in the breeding side, the theriogenology side, that everybody's got an opinion about something, and you're never right and you're always wrong. One of the topics is air versus semen, right? So is air spermicidal? What is your thoughts, Dr. Roger, on air being spermicidal?
That's a really, really important question, man, because over the years, you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, right? But I can guarantee you one thing, with the Botu semen extenders, we have no problem with the air at all. We have been trying we did all the tests as possible. Even here in our practice, I speak with bases. We deal with around 40 to 50 stallions a year. 100% of them we ship with the air with no problem at all. And the reason behind that is what? Dose normally is 30 ml. We ship the dose in a 30 ml. So if we're going to do it, I probably have a Falcon tube here. So if you're going to do it, here is a dose for 35 ml. I have an air here. So if I'm going to put it, if I don't want to ship it with the air, I have to put a 50. So what about if the mare is a mating mare? Never had a baby before. Her uterus is really small. And I particularly do not inseminate that much with that much semen because it's gonna reflux. Everybody's know what I mean here. You're gonna inseminate the mare, a lot of liquid inside of the uterus, they're gonna come out. There's nothing worse feeling ever for a vet that is inseminating a mare. And as soon as you pull your hand out, the semen comes out again. So you don't want to do that. So we basically we try to do our dose, all your doses between 30 to 40 max ml, and we ship everything with air. It's not a problem at all. So no, I think the only thing is sometimes people misjudge because we need to be really worry about it, how they manipulate the semen. And then you misjudge the extender, and then you misjudge the air. You're not gonna manipulate the semen in a countertop, which is really cold, and the tail is gonna creak. So pay attention on what really matters. In the case of I just expressed about the mating mare, you're gonna do more harm than good. Worry about the air. So I think it's just common sense. But I can guarantee with the Botu semen extenders, you don't need to worry about air. The only thing you have to worry is to do the manipulation well. Another factor is, I have it here with me too. Let's say I have 20 ml here or 30 ml. So one thing that you have to be careful is this. Inside any container, they made the calculation to the curve to be specific with a specific amount of liquid inside, okay? So if you only ship a dose and then both doses just 20 ml, okay? And then you only have 40 ml over there. And that's gonna really, the semen is gonna really feel the impact, okay? Because it's only 40 ml, and then it's gonna get cold really fast, and then you're gonna damage the cell. What we recommend is you have to put water complement. In the Botuflex, you can put 2 doses and the one water in the middle. Here fits 100 ml of water. So you're not going to damage your semen at all because, and the water has to be the same temperature as the semen. So then you can have a nice curve, okay? If I have to say something, worry about manipulation of semen, since the collection through the shipping process.
Perfect. And thank you for that clarification. You've talked about a bunch of different scenarios that we can kind of make an art out of these
Yes.
different options, being flexible with it. Can you go through a couple more cases that you can share with our listeners on how to use each extender?
Sure. We can talk. Let's talk about more than a couple cases. So I think it's going to be better to make people get like more interesting, more creative. So let's say a case one. We have a mare and a stallion in the property, or even the mare is in one location and the stallion in a different location, but both of them are in town. So what do we do? If the mare is in the same location, you do with the semen with no cholesterol. So both semen, standard, KZ, or turbo. That one you can do the insemination on site. We call the mare is just next to you in your house. But that's the first dose. Second dose, you have to add cholesterol. Remember that I said you have cholesterol to protect the membrane. So for the next day, I need more protection. So one dose without cholesterol, one dose with cholesterol. That's in the case of a Marinier property, and the other one can be right next property or someplace else. Second case, let's do when you're gonna ship overnight semen, more than 24 hours. You want a cholesterol on those guys, okay? Unless you have to centrifuge the semen first, you got to process. Remember that I spoke in the beginning, pre-centrifugation, because some styling gives a lot of gel portion. So I wanted to reduce that dose. So I do the pre-centrifugation with a standard, turbo, and KZ, and then I resuspend both doses with the cholesterol. Okay. So I want to take the gel portion off because sometimes it can be damaged to the semen. And then I resuspended both, not one, just both for the next day because I needed protection for tomorrow. Phase 3. That's when we're going to ship the semen with a bad quality. Okay. I collected the semen doesn't look that promising. What am I going to do? I normally, in those cases here, we only ship one dose because you don't want a semen more than 24 hours if they have a bad quality. What I do is I do process my semen normally like I would do for overnight, like I just mentioned, a case 2, with cholesterol, everything, but I concentrate in only 20 ml. So I put only 20 ml here, I concentrate that one, and I can label it. This will be number 1. And number 2, I can grab the number 2 only with a turbo. Okay. So why 20 ml? Because when I mix both together, they're going to be 40. So basically I have a dose in one hand, number 1. And number 2, I have only turbo because turbo, remember, pentoxifilin is going to activate the semen. So, and then I'm going to just give instructions. As soon as you receive the semen, mix it up 1 with a 2, wait 15 minutes, take a look in the semen and inseminate the mare. That's the bad quality one. Okay. Case 4. I'm receiving the bad quality semen now. Okay. So what am I going to do if I receive the semen, the bad quality? So normally, especially if the people send it too much semen, or either if they send it just a little, I'm going to centrifuge that semen because it's bad quality. If you think the centrifuge is going to hurt too much the semen, Botupharma has a special we call pocket centrifuge. It's just a sperm filter. If the people doesn't know how to look like, we have a video on YouTube that can show you how it looks like. Basically, there's a screen, and you just run the semen through the screen. The screen is going to collect only the sperm. So, and then going back to my thoughts. So I'm going to centrifuge that semen, and then I'm going to resuspend it, either with the turbo, because the pentoxifilin to make them wake up, or Botupharma offers a cryoprotector as well called Botucryl. There's a lot of nutrients on the Botucryl that can help you, and there's also probably 3 or 4 articles just mention about that specific technique. So you do resuspend it with a turbo or Botucryl. That's the third one. So now let's talk about Botu Turbo again. Case 5. So remember in the beginning that I mentioned about reinforced breeding. First of all, what is reinforced breeding? Reinforced breeding, there's some breeds you cannot do the AI. So you have to do live cover, okay? Example, thoroughbreds. Reinforced breeding, you're gonna live cover the mare. As soon as the stallion is out of the mare, that remain that comes out of the vagina, you collect the remain of the vagina. And what are you going to do? Turbo, because ATP process, ATP acceleration. So you want a speed on that guy. And then you're going to collect that remain and you're going to AI the mare with the life cover semen, okay? Because those guys only can do life cover. That's the fifth case. The sixth case, let's suppose I'm going to freeze the semen, okay? In the beginning that I mentioned about the gold and the special pre-centrifugation to centrifuge the semen before freezing. Why do we use both or one of each, gold or special? Because they have cholesterol. To go through the process of freezing, you're going to lose some quality in the semen. So you need as much as protection as you can have. You pre-centrifugate with a special or gold, and then you resuspend in your cryoprotector, okay? It can be different ones, but Botupharma also offers, like I said, Botuprio. It's very well known worldwide. So you resuspend it with them. So you got my idea here. Every time that you need something different, I need a protection. I put those guys. I need inseminate on side. I do not need cholesterol. And one thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning was, why do we do one dose with cholesterol and the second dose with no cholesterol? Because some mares, they can be almost ovulating. And you don't want to inseminate a mare with the cholesterol when they're ovulating, you know, because you don't want that extra protection. You don't need that protection. You just needed the standard or KZ or turbo, okay? So one more case before we go. So everybody that's forbid you lost your stallion, okay? So, and then you have your last chance, which is have the testicle sent out to the clinic and you freeze because each testicle has the epididymum. Epididymum can hold 20 to 30 billion sperm cells, okay? Then you have that chance still. But the sperm in epididymum is in stasis. What that means? They're inactivated. They're stopped. So there's articles being proving that a Botu turbo can activate the semen better, and then you're gonna freeze after the manipulation with the turbo. So how is that gonna happen? So you're gonna do the epididymum, you're gonna do the lavage. There's two techniques to do the epididymum, right? One, you just flush the epididymum. The other one is we call floating, right? You just cut the epididymum and let the semen flow. Either one. With the lavage, you do the Botu turbo. If it is just floating, you just float with the Botu turbo. And then you're going to centrifuge that semen, collect the semen, and resuspend it with your cryoprotector, which will be Botuprio. So that's the beauty of it. I put a different cases to you guys here, and each one, they make you think. You know, you got to think. You got to, do I need a protection? I don't need a protection? Do I need to activate the semen? Or is this semen is a bad quality? Is a good quality? I'm going to ship. I'm going to use on site. So every single question is important in order to choose which style you're going to use in that specific situation.
Yeah, just having that option to do other things, it makes you, if anything, a better breeder. It makes
Yeah,
you think about what you're going to do. So
no
you're
doubt
not
about
just
it.
going through the routine of everything of, my dad did it this way, my granddad did it this way. Well, I'm guessing if your granddad had the options that Botupharma USA is offering, he would have used it.
Hey, I'll tell you what, buddy. Botupharma taught me to think out of the box. You know, even if it's not just with extender, just with a normal breeding or whatever you're gonna do with the styling with a male or female, you start thinking more because you're not narrowed down to one thing, single step. I just do this, like you said, 1, 2, 3, close the book, it's done. Nothing I can do. So with all this stimulation, those extender gives to you, you became more creative. Even in the other side, what else can I do? You know?
Yeah, and that's amazing. So I hope this has been beneficial for everybody that's listening. I would invite you to share this video with a breeder
Sure.
or a vet or anybody that deals with reproduction, because this is going to shine a lot of light onto like I said, all of these different options that give you flexibility and variability to make you a better breeder. So, Dr.
Oh,
Roger,
yeah.
thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
I just appreciate the opportunity. And if anybody has any doubt in the future, just email Botupharma. Go to the website, email them, because Botupharma offers technical support, not just with semen, with every single product that they offer. So there's a technical support. So thanks for everybody. Thanks for listening.
That email address is going to be info at botupharmausa.com. Again, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this video, and we will see you in a future video.
Sounds good, my friend. Great talk to you.